Let's talk about the preseason injuries so far, and let's talk about how they are going to impact your fantasy drafts and your fantasy football seasons.
Injuries galore.
Let's jump into it. And welcome back to the Standard Fantasy Football Podcast. We got a short episode coming to you. I'm your host, Jono.
And I'm your host, Chris. And we got injuries and updates for the week 2 of preseason. Had a couple during the games yesterday. Had a couple in training camp. Had some big news that come out here. Nothing bigger than J.J. McCarthy being out for the season. Had meniscus surgery. So we all know it's Sam Darnold season.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't think the needle moves too much for me for any of the skill position players, like in terms of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, Hawkins, any of these guys. We know this offense is going to be passing heavy. Aaron Jones may get a little bit more earlier on in the season as this offense gets comfortable under the helm with Darnold, but we knew he was going to start the season. And the only thing was the upside of J.J. McCarthy. You know, the ability that said he could do. He has a good arm, and he's a winner, and, you know, what the report was going to look like. Everybody had hopeful in Minnesota for that. But we knew Sam Darnold was going to start, and we know he's got an arm himself, and he's going to get the ball to his receivers. I'm keeping everybody where they are.
I was drafting everyone knowing that Sam Darnold is going to be the starter anyway.
Exactly.
So this doesn't really affect anything. It is big news. The capital that they gave up to go and get him, to go and get J.J. McCarthy, was a pretty large sum, and now he's missing out on, like, whether he started this season or not, he's missing valuable reps.
Yep.
And so Sam Darnold is going to be the starter this season. If you did want a backup option, Nick Mullins, I guess, would be the guy that you're going to go to.
Yeah, I think he'd be the guy. But, I mean,
which, from a fantasy perspective, I don't know how much I love. I think this hurts everyone except for Justin Jefferson.
I don't think it hurts him that much, though. I don't think it hurts him that much.
If Nick Mullins took over.
Oh yeah. I agree. If Nick Mullins takes over,
I think Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof.
Although Jordan Addison had a couple good games end of the season with Mullins and Downs too as well. Especially week 18, he had 100-something yards. Was that Dobbs? I said Downs.
You said Downs.
Yeah, Dobbs. But outside of that, the only person that I think value rises with Sam Darnold at the helm is Sam Darnold season long.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to go grab him as your second quarterback
there. He's not worth a first-round pick in dynasties. He's going to be a 1 or 2 year replacement, if that. Probably 1 year. He's going to have to play his ass off to get a huge starting contract for next year.
Hey, Carolina could go grab him and bring him back if they don't like
Bryce.
I
mean, maybe, but you're going to see kind of a Minshew situation, right?
No, it's true. I mean, Seattle.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Seattle.
But anyway, you know, we don't have to harp too much on that.
Not worth the first-round pick.
Let's talk about the Chiefs receiver, Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown had that sternoclavicular joint dislocation, which the reports keep coming out. Tyreek Hill had this in 2019, and he missed 4 weeks, and he came down just fine. Well, Tyreek Hill is one of the best receivers in the NFL. That's not Hollywood Brown. Also, every injury is different for every single person. Everything heals different for every single person. Everybody's a little bit tougher than somebody else. So I don't want to take that at face value. I'm expecting 4 to 6 weeks out of Hollywood Brown, and I'm expecting a downtick in a guy who's already has a crowded receiving core with him. It's not that I don't love Hollywood Brown. I think he's a good receiver. He can't stay healthy, and he kind of gets lost in the shuffle when he's not the main guy. That's how I feel.
Well, I think that his if he didn't get hurt, I think his value is where it should be. Like, Rashee Rice is going to be the guy there. Travis Kelce is going to be the guy there. We're seeing good rapport with Xavier Worthy. And what Xavier Worthy did in college, I think that Worthy ends up overtaking Hollywood Brown at some point. But Hollywood Brown is better than what they had there.
Correct.
And this receiving core from a year ago is much, much better than it was for the last 2 seasons. So Hollywood gives some depth there. I think this is a bump in Xavier Worthy specifically. I think Rashee Rice was going to be the guy there.
Yeah, Xavier's going to get on the field a little bit more often now. But
Xavier Worthy's going to get off early often.
I still think they like Justin Watson a lot, and I'm going to trust Justin Watson over the rookie in some aspects too as well.
Yeah, I just don't like his snap share.
I'm not saying I want Justin Watson. I'm just saying don't expect Xavier Worthy to all of a sudden consume all the snaps now that Hollywood's not there, because he's still a rookie. They're still going to get him on there. They're scheming Xavier Worthy with his talents and his speed. They're not just saying, go ahead, you can do everything out there. Yeah. He's not a Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit, too, about Puka Nacua over here. He did have a week-to-week knee injury here. It was a contact-type injury. They're saying there's no threat for him missing week 1. I will believe that. I'm not too worried about that. They're going to take him easy for the rest of the preseason. I don't know if he's still I don't know if I ever had him as a first-round pick for me. I had other receivers in front of him, but I'm still taking him at that second turn.
Yeah, I mean, I still think if you're in the 12th position, you can go and draft him. I think that's a good spot for him. But I do think this drops. I've seen him drafted in the 9 position. I think this drops it out of that back end of the first round, that 9, 10, 11 spot. If you want to go and draft him in the 12th, fine. If you want to go and pair him up with Garrett Wilson or Marvin Harrison, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't think this hurts him season long. What I do think hurts him season long is the fact that Cooper Kupp is healthy.
Yeah.
And I think Cooper Kupp reemerges into what Cooper Kupp was.
Well, the reports already came out that the offense, from the beat writers, saying that it's been running through Cooper Kupp this whole preseason.
It should be. I mean, Cooper Kupp is the guy there. He's going to be the volume guy there. Puka is now going to have better opportunities. Teams can't scheme against both two great route runners like this.
Exactly. And
I mean, go look at the greatest show on turf and see what the Rams did there. You can't scheme for Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. You can't.
And Oz Hakeem.
And Ricky Proehl. And Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk. So I think in this situation, too, I'm less concerned about the health of Puka Nacua. I'm more concerned about the health of Matt Stafford. Because if you don't have Matt Stafford going, then you've got Stetson Bennett or Jimmy Garoppolo. And that changes the value of every skill player on there. Because now you get people trying to stack boxes against Kyron Williams, making these other guys try and throw. The skill is still there in the receivers.
The thing is, both these guys get open. So
I was going to say, skill's there.
It's not like Stafford's throwing these guys open. These guys are getting open.
Yeah, but
this isn't a Bryce Young situation from last year.
No, but you can. I'm not saying Bryce Young, but you could still look at the situation with Minnesota last year. It wasn't like that. They were. Justin Jefferson was having these amazing games every single game with a backup, and Addison with a backup.
He'd throw up 160 yards with a backup
in one of the games.
Not
every single game.
No, he was pretty good down the stretch, but he was hurt anyway.
But so I think that's the one thing you got to watch, because Stafford does have a hamstring injury that he's been missing a couple practices with. I think he's going to be fine. I think they're precautionary, but health of Stafford is something to keep in mind there too as well. Malik Neighbors had an injury scare. I don't know what it is about this preseason. I feel like everybody's just getting carted off, no matter what it is. They're just carting people off.
Yeah, and I think it just gets I don't think that they want to put any extra pressure onto them. So instead of carrying them off, they're putting them on a cart and driving them somewhere.
Everybody's got to remember, they're at practice facilities.
Right.
They don't have blue tents set up everywhere. They don't have big bleachers and big places to sit down. So they're bringing when they can, there's also easier access for a cart to get onto the field and take them off. So getting quote unquote carted off is just some guy going to sit on the cart so he doesn't have to go walk on it, and they go do their quick testing on it. So don't jumping to conclusions with the carted off. It scares everybody, but he played in yesterday's preseason game. He was targeted heavily by a horrible play playing from Daniel Jones. Ugh. He had an amazing catch down the sideline on a back shoulder where he came up, fingertip, got 2 feet in. The guy's going to be good. I think, if anything, we'll talk about it in our preseason episode coming up on the breakdown on the studs and duds situations here. But I didn't like what I saw from the Giants. Big one here, Jahmyr Gibbs. Hamstring injury from a running back where speed matters. Does it scare you like it scares me?
It scares me.
It already scared me having him in his first-round running back contention, because everybody is just projecting that David Montgomery's going to go away. Now, David Montgomery has a stronger hold on the running game than Tyler Algier did, and Tyler Algier took away from Bijan last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this injury definitely takes Jahmyr Gibbs out of the first round for me.
It should do it for other people too.
Puts him below Jonathan Taylor for me. I don't know. Derrick Henry, Saquon, and ETN are being just dropped down, and I don't know why, because they are heavy volume guys. I think Saquon, you're really high on Saquon this year. I'm not as much, but I definitely think Jahmyr Gibbs gets pushed down. Like, let's just say he misses 2 weeks, and
I mean, they're saying he's not missing any time, but let's just say he does.
Let's just say he does. Let's say he misses no time. He has an existing injury this year with that,
especially hamstrings.
And all you need is one tweak, and it's going to be 4 weeks minimum that he's missing. And on top of the fact that he's already in a shared backfield, like if David Montgomery wasn't there, I would still really like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
But the fact that they don't have to rush him back, and they're probably going to play it safe. Again, this is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, not just winning games. They did that last year. They're sick of it. They want to go to the championship game. They want to go to the Super Bowl. They're not going to put their best player one of their best players at risk when they have a viable option at number 2. Like we saw early season, the first half of the season last year, David Montgomery just absolutely...
He was the guy.
He was the only guy.
Yeah, and listen, Gibbs had his opportunity because of a David Montgomery injury. He was getting involved more and more. I'll give him that. But he got the lion's share of this backfield, which he was still sharing with Craig Reynolds anyway.
Right.
As soon as Montgomery got hurt. And he took it and he ran with it, literally. But... yeah, he's a first-round draft pick for the Lions, too, so they have a stock in him over Montgomery. But Montgomery is a good running back.
Yeah.
And he did what he wanted them to do in this team, and they won ball games with Montgomery. They beat the Chiefs in the opening weekend because of Montgomery.
Yeah.
So moving on, also, Mark Andrews, quick little note here, in a car accident on Wednesday on his way to the practice facility. He was cleared. He's okay. They do have him listed as questionable for week 1. As we know with all NFL injury reporting, is going to get a Q unless he's fully cleared. But it looks like he came out there really unscathed, so to speak, for everything. And if you haven't had a chance to go look online, they have the local Baltimore News has shown what the car accident looked like. I mean, that front end of his car was wrecked.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see he's okay. I still think Mark Andrews is one guy I'd like to target. Where he's slipping down to in drafts because he was on track to be tight end 1 before his injury, and then Hawkinson was on track to tight end 1 before his injury. Sam Laporta's only being drafted number 1 because of top two tight ends that got injured.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that, people.
Yeah. Another guy I want to talk about is Jaylen Warren.
Oh, yeah. See, that a brand new one here, yeah.
Jaylen Warren left yesterday's game with a hamstring injury. This is probably going to sideline him a little bit. Definitely bumps my value up for Najee Harris. There's a shame, too, because I have a lot of Jaylen Warren in best ball. I really like Warren as taking that kind of a next step up. We saw the explosiveness last season from him. This is one we're going to kind of have more of an update on later in the week after we kind of test gets settled and we kind of know the prognosis. We know how he's feeling and reacting to it. But I do think that this sidelines him a little bit, at least in the preseason.
Yeah, a couple little quick ones here, too, to talk about as well. Justin Herbert's still dealing with the fascia injury. It sounds like he's out of his boot now. He was in his boot for a little while. They expect him back soon. Odell Beckham, this is a small injury note here, but he still isn't cleared. He's on PUP. He's supposed to be their wide receiver 3, their slot guy. Go keep it. Don't forget about Malik Washington. Because this could be an opportunity for a guy like that who's got better speed than Odell Beckham. I don't know about better hands, but better speed. And if Beckham is not going to be what he's expected to be here in his opportunities, Malik Washington is going to get them in 3 wide receiver sets for sure.
For sure.
And then there was one other little injury I did want to talk about here, and that was Jordan Addison with another carted off the field. As a wide receiver 2 for Minnesota, he had 10 touchdowns in his rookie season, just under 1,000 yards. He is a guy who's going to get off coverage. He's a great route runner and gets open. I like him a lot. In fact, I'm heavily contemplating keeping him on our league for a season, even though there's a downgrade at quarterback. He had an ankle injury. Looked like he came down on a jump ball, a little bit off. Looks like he was walking around. He was okay with a limp. He's yet to understand whether he's going to actually miss. He missed the preseason game, but so did all the starters. How long he's going to miss, we'll see what that report's coming up this week if we see in practice here. If we missed any injuries here, we'll be sure to update them in the next episode here as well. Keep an eye out for them. If you want the most up-to-date news from us, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button because we are going to break down these studs and duds from preseason week 2.
Studs and duds.